From McFarlane Toys and their DC Superpowers line, this is the Batman Zur-En-Ar and the Justice Lord Superman. Two fun variants of Batman and Superman. Two evil twins, now that I'm thinking about it, kinda. And also two very different looks for these characters. I'm not big on how many Batman and Superman are in this line, I'll be honest. I think we have a little bit too much, especially when we start getting to things like Gold Superman, Gold Batman. But these guys are unique characters and iterations of Batman and Superman, making them feel a little bit more interesting to me, which is why I'm excited to have them and why we're going to open them together. Why don't we start with Batman and then we'll close things off with Superman. Taking a look at Batman as Zur-En-Ar, there is actually a kind of fun history to this character. Back in the Silver Age, there was just another planet called Zur-En-Ar, and there, Batman was actually more like their Superman. He was superpowered, he had a Lex Luthor type of villain. It was just kind of a fun little experiment with the Silver Age. Then, in the 2010s, Zur-En-Ar was brought back as essentially Batman's split personality. If he hears the phrase Zur-En-Ar, or if things become too tough and he's actually about to die, he comes over to this version of himself who is completely unhinged. I'm not the biggest fan of that type of character usually, but for some reason I actually do like the Batman of Zur-En-Ar nowadays. And this costume is particularly manic. This is the Silver Age look, but we have seen it in modern times as well, and the description usually is because Zur-En-Ar is a more insane Batman, he's just kind of dressing the way a child would, which I do like that explanation. We have a rotation at the head, rotation at the shoulder, up and down at the hip, and at the knee. Usual points of articulation for this line. Alongside that, I love this purple cape. It looks spectacular. I'll be honest, I was not expecting to like this figure all that much, but having it in hand, I think I prefer it to my other Batman. The only other Batman I have from this line is the Keaton Batman. My issues with this guy is, one, he just looks a little too much like Kenner without having any of the class. The head sculpt is very undefined. He's a little too short, his proportions are off, his cape looks really bad. Whereas this body Batman, he's taller, I like the head sculpt so much more, I like the cape so much more. I'm really excited about the manga Batman coming out in the next wave because he's also using this body. So all of a sudden I'm finding myself getting excited for Batman variants because it's kind of fixing some of the issues I had with this Batman. And even though I do like this one, this guy was definitely middle of the pack for the shelf. This is a marked improvement body-wise, and even though I'm always going to love the Keaton costume, Zur-En-Ar is definitely a lot more unique in my collection. I said this before when I was reviewing the Justice League Unlimited Justice Lords. Justice Lord Superman is one of the only times I've enjoyed an evil Superman, because it still felt like Superman. He wasn't just destroying cities or throwing temper tantrums, you know? So for that reason, I wouldn't pick up many evil Superman figures, but I'll always be interested in a Justice Lord. Looking at the body, I really love how they made him have the heat vision eyes. That's a good little detail. Alongside that, he has great temples. That's because he's recently come back in the Batman Beyond comics, to my understanding. I think it's fine. It makes him more unique to the other Supermen, and it makes him look a little bit more just unhinged. The black and white costume is always so sharp. I love this costume. And the cape is a lot more form-fitting than most of the DC Superpowers figures that we've seen out of McFarlane. I would say that. I didn't mention it with the Zur-En-Ar Batman, but both him and the Superman, their capes look and feel so much better than they've been feeling on the figures at any point in the toy line. So I enjoy that improvement. Now, to compare him to a couple of other Supermen, I have Superman from Wave 1 and the New 52 Superman. A thing that's surprising me, one sec, let me take a closer look here. Yeah, those are the same head sculpt. For a second, I thought they were different head sculpts, but no, same head sculpt, but the paint is making them look so much more distinct. And yeah, I adore this. All three of these Supermen are very good. I still think my favorite out of these three, Wave 1 I think has enough pros. He's a little bit taller. I love that his cape looks the way it does. I like the body more. If he had the New 52's head, he'd be the perfect figure for me. But this Justice Lord Superman, he is definitely holding his own with these guys. And Superman might be the most consistent character in this line so far. I don't think he's had any duds or any weirdo figures. They've all looked pretty good. except for that golden Superman figure coming out. I started this video saying I wasn't big on how many Batman and Superman were in this toy line, and I'm ending the video talking about how much I love these two. They are so good looking. They play so well. They're so unique to the collection. They both bring a little bit of unique energy to the line. We're getting more Justice League cartoon energy with him, more Silver Age with Zur-En-Ar. And with all that's said and done, I'm so happy they're part of the line. They fit in perfectly here. I don't want every wave to have a Batman and a Superman, and I'm worried that we're getting to that point. But I will say this, these two are unique, they fill good niches within the collection, they give us two more kind of villainous characters to a toy line that is in desperate need of more villains, and they are so colorful, so bombastic, they add a good splash to the overall palette of the shelf. I give these two a big thumbs up, and like I said, that's a way better body for Batman than we've gotten in this line up to this point, to my knowledge. And then, for the final time, at least for a while, here is the total figure collection from the McFarlane DC Superpowers line, until we get some more figures. This is probably going to be the last video for this toy line for at least a little while, until we get the new wave and a couple more figures, maybe a new vehicle in. But I will say again, I was sleeping on this line. I love having these guys together. They look so good, and I can't wait to go and start organizing a shelf or two for this line. They're very fun, they're very colorful, they're everything I've been wanting out of DC figures for a very long time, and at the end of the day, I'm pretty happy that I decided to just take a dip with this line.